An all-important series here, compLexity versus the Pango. I think we have two of the most evenly matched drafts I've seen so far in this event. And Danog, what do you make of it?
I agree completely. You know, that last pick, Ember, really ties together a lot of what compLexity are trying to do. They were lacking a little bit of catch. I feel like they really need to save this Tusk Snowball for you know, just making sure that Terrorblade lasts throughout these team fights. And while Death does like to go that Blink Dagger build on him to enable him to get in on that backline, I just think they needed something more. And similarly on the Pango, you've picked up that Centaur War Runner, so he's going to be able to get in, use the Stomp, then Stampede out, and really enable his team. So we're looking ready for a slobber knocker here.
Yeah, a little bit more catch on the compLexity side, a little bit more disengage for the Pango. Looks like compLexity going to be running their Doom down on the safe lane, actually, and running a little bit of an aggro tri-lane to begin with. I guess we'll see how that plays out. The Pango don't seem like they've quite cottoned on just yet. They do still have the PL over on the top side of the map. But what was your, even before we saw the draft, what was your take on this best of three?
My take was essentially which compLexity is going to show up. Is it going to be the compLexity that qualifies to majors, or is it the compLexity that was fourth in their group stage? You know, and there are so many variables for that. Obviously, playing versus like other NA teams versus playing against international teams, playing on LAN versus playing online. All these sorts of factors come into consideration for that. And so, based off what we've seen so far, I'd say that Pango has looked a little stronger, having a bit more of a successful showing for themselves. They went 2-1 against Mineski in their group. It was very close to actually being in this upper bracket instead of them. So I would think I would lean maybe a little bit more towards Pango, just because they've got, I think, better timings for themselves. And if they're able to take that hyper-aggressive style that really works for them, I think they could make a real showing in this game one.
Yeah, I did feel as if the problems that I was seeing for compLexity were by and large drafting, and then maybe a few item decisions here and there. And to me, it's a little bit heartening to see that, because I think those are some of the easiest things to fix.
Yeah.
As a team, you can go back, you can look over those games, you can say, oh, if we had this item instead of this, or if we just chose this hero at this point in the draft, maybe that would have been a completely different game for us, and now they get to test that out a little bit.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm a pretty open-minded guy. I see compLexity going with their style of running, for example, Bat Rider mid. Sure, that might be what works for you, but I just can't agree with what they did during the group stage of, you know, picking the Jakiro as the mid laner for them. It just...
That was weird.
Yeah.
They didn't know the matchup at the time either, so clearly they thought it was going to do something specific for their lineup, maybe take some fast tier 1 tower or something like that, but just really didn't end up working out. But they have I would say that this is a very straightforward draft. I've been wondering where all the Shadow Shamans been, to be honest, this event. I really thought that this hero was going to feature a little bit more prominently, but it seems like in the last couple of days, we have started to see him a little bit more. So we will have a full aggressive tri-lane setup for each team at the moment. And, well, I guess we'll have to see who can get a little bit more out, though. The Pango are going to take the first step. They're going to be rotating Vampire up to this top lane on the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, and the block in mid was actually a little too good from Iceberg. It went underneath his tower, so it's going to push that lane forward a bit more.
Some damage being traded up top here. Ghostic does already have that point up in the Retaliate, so giving as good as he's getting, just some regen being traded. And that's really where Nyx Assassin wants to be. He's got this absolutely ridiculous base regen, throw a few mangoes on top of that, and he's really quite ready to trade. Though, the Shadow Shaman can be a little bit scary. He does actually have a lot of damage to his name.
And he knows that he's skilled up the Impale, right? So Shadow Shaman should be pretty happy to easily trade. Obviously, he has some great base damage. Ether Shock as well, able to do a lot of harass, make sure that they use all of their regen very early on. They've got 5 tangos and a salve on this Centaur, and then on the Nyx again, it's just relying on that base regen.
So compLexity pulling the lane back a little bit without resorting to the side pull, just keeping both of the supports in the lane for now. And it seems like something actually blocked the side pull down on the bottom side of the map. So just straight up laning action so far.
Yeah. Well, I kind of agree with what Kyle was saying about this Witch Doctor pick. You kind of put yourself in a little bit of a curious position. They're the only team to have picked Witch Doctor so far at this event, and they're 0-2 for it. So clearly they've got a strategy that they have in mind, but it hasn't worked out for them so far.
I could maybe see it this game. I almost want to see the Voodoo Restoration maxed or like prioritized a little bit more. compLexity do have quite a lot of damage over time. And especially even just being able to, if you pop the Stampede when the Doom happens and you just run away and get some heals up, that could be really nice. Stun up on top. This is actually a lot of damage on Z-Freak. He doesn't have boots, and that is going to be your first blood. Nice and easy. Even some body blocks coming in for a little bit more damage as 343 in some trouble. That is not the way that they wanted this tri-lane to go.
No, absolutely not. Oh, nice double stun coming out. The Witch Doctor actually picked up an Invis rune, but just rotated all the way back towards the bot lane. I thought maybe he could have rotated through to mid, get a bit of more harass onto this Ember Spirit. He's already queued up another set of tangos. Razor obviously harassing him down very well, easily winning on the last hit front.
I mean, this is always the expected outcome for this mid lane, right? That the Razor was going to give the Ember a totally miserable time. I've heard some theory crafting, actually, about being able to slight over onto this medium camp and using that to break the link in this matchup.
Yeah, it's a good...
Is that a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good way to use his full toolkit. Oh, Pango.
Yeah, Ghostic getting gone on a little bit, but they managed to get the tag team away from him. Vampire nicely done with the Spike Carapace. Just trying to juke it out, and the supports do go north a little bit. He's getting some space.
Oh, he's gone
comes back the other way. 343 trying to close the gap, but they don't have any lockdown left. And they easily survive on the Pango. They are running circles around compLexity on this top lane.
Yeah, cheeky little play and the old chat as well. Give him a bit of the business.
Yeah, you got to have those Dota Plus lines.
Absolutely. What's your favorite one?
Oh, Oracle's 25 is pretty.
Is it I Wanna Die?
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty good. It's very appropriate for Oracle, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so mid lane still being very heavily won, but like we said, expected this. The Ember just needs to get some levels, and then he'll be able to potentially rotate around, or just catch up in the jungle, to be honest, with the Flame Guard. This is none too surprising. And despite the fact that top lane is going pretty well in terms of trading the regen and whatnot, the Doom is still CSing fantastically at bottom, and he's actually ahead of the Centaur right now. 13-2 versus the 7-1, so Death having a pretty good time.
Yeah, absolutely. He's building up a phase boost for himself as well on this Doom. Obviously has the Devour to make sure that he's getting that passive regen. He's actually skilling up the Scorched Earth instead, so perhaps to deal a bit more with these illusions that will be coming out from the PL.
Making an attempt once again onto Z-Freak. Still does not have those boots just yet, so easy to run him down, and one more swing of the axe from Ghostic. Easy kill. Also an attempt on Death's Life at bottom, but he's just a little bit too tanky for this Maldic to finish him off, and does have a salve up his sleeve as the 5-minute bounty rune battle begins. Slayer wants to stand his ground. 343 really wants this one. Is he going to go north? Who gets it? It will be Slayer, and 343 actually in big trouble. Snowball's going to buy him a little bit more time, but looks like he will be brought down here. One more auto attack, and they get both on the top side. That is 4 bounty runes for the side of the Pango. Ooh. Already a 2K net worth lead.
Yeah, not looking ideal for compLexity, and we saw as well just the way that they're looking to build up into it, and the Centaur, that retaliate damage really coming into effect with that previous kill on Z-Freak as well. You know, that extra 90% attack damage just makes him hit like an absolute truck.
Yeah, and they pay for the failed attempt earlier, right? You're putting some damage onto him, you're giving him those retaliate stacks, and then it comes right back in your face. Because you didn't actually manage to successfully get the kill.
Nyx as well, right? Like, he doesn't care. He created so much space, kiting those heroes around that side shop, and then he can just use his base regen to be perfectly healthy again. I just want to highlight.
Z-Freak getting gone on again up top here. Nothing that Miracle can really do to save him. Chain stun, body blocked up a little bit. He is going to go for the shackle, but there's no one rotating to help out, so it's just a bit of wasted time, and down he goes, and a little bit of a dive at mid lane. Slayer might be in some trouble, but he does have boots, so... Snowball not quite going to catch him, and he might die here. Death is actually just giving up on the chase, and looks like Slayer's going to be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. It was just highlighting again the difference between the net worth on this Razor and the Ember Spirit. Obviously, it's
getting double
favored, but yeah, it is looking pretty rough.
And they need this Ember online. It feels like he's the only person who's going to be making any rotation. They do pop with the shackle up top. Ghostic almost brought down one more touch from that illusion. Is going to be enough. Limp getting dove on at mid lane. He doesn't have the level 6 just yet. He's in big trouble. Auto attacks finish him off. Slayer actually getting a lot of gold here. Iceberg trying to escape at 343, and Miracle there. Just a little bit too quick. Very nicely played by Miracle, getting a couple of kills across the map.
And as what Kyle was saying, so much more faith being given by compLexity towards Miracle these days. As I said in previous series, it feels like compLexity are going to win the game if Miracle has a good game. If not, it's done.
Their style's a little bit reminiscent of Team, I would say, almost. Really the sort of the space creaty mids for Limp, and then you've got your really hard carry for Miracle in this case.
Yeah, and then a lot has to be said for that for Limp, because he's a very, very talented mid in his own right, mechanically. And so to be able to not have an ego, to be able to give up the reins to a more up-and-coming carry, let's say, I think that takes a lot of guts to be able to put your pride aside, and it's worked relatively well for them top lane.
Out again, stun. Ghostic looking for the follow-up. He's got the damage. Vampire ready with the Spiked Carapace just in case. Zefric does get the stick charges off, and now he's juking with the salve. 3-4-3. TP's in, blocks it off, and Ghostic in trouble. He does manage to redirect that tower aggro, but Limp is also looking for him. Doesn't have the chains, and they end up on the hill. Oh no, Ghostic just stomps and walks away. compLexity, it could not have gone worse for them. They are going to throw out the Doom. Death's still chasing. Vampire probably calling for the deny, and he's just going to go straight for it. Easy peasy, and now the Razors arrived. Death in such big trouble. He does have the phase boot, but that's not going to be enough to save him. He gets one last snack before he heads back to the fountain, but what a win for the Pango there.
Oh, that could have been an absolute disaster.
And 3-4-3 is still on the cliff.
Yeah.
It's not over. This is still going to be a secondary kill.
It was very bad. It could have been even worse. The Ember Spirit's TP had about 15-second cooldown on it. He was actually pretty happy to die there, 3-4-3. He didn't have a TP at all. If that Witch Doctor was a second sooner placing that Observer Ward on the high ground, then he would have actually got the double stun, interrupted the TP again.
Oh, God. And, well, Limp does have level 6 now, but he hasn't opted to get the point in the Remnant yet. He's actually 0-3-3.
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like he's getting dodged a lot.
I am dubious about this as well. And 9-minute boots on the Ember. We knew he was going to lose the lane, but the expectation was never to lose it this hard, right, Danog?
There's a difference between losing and getting stopped. Yeah. Right now, it's the latter.
Death's running forward, but the Spiked Carapace is super annoying. They're making room for Iceberger. Comes back in. Slayer's there with the Coconut bouncing around. It does head over to the creep wave, so getting deflected a little bit. And they do also have Miracle TPing into position. He won't grab this kill, but they're looking for a little bit more chase, though their catch without the Ember is a bit lacking, and the Plasma Field is enough to open up the space.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a 4-man rotation onto that just for a single support kill. All the meantime, you've got Naive on this Pango pushing down in the bot lane, having a very good time for himself, and we can just have a look at the net worth graph as well. The Razor and the PL streaming ahead, TB keeping up, but it's a big drop down to that Ember Spirit.
Yeah, and 3 of the top 4, all of the cores on the Pango. I guess the Doom not too far behind, but it's a hero that naturally has an ability that accelerates him, right? So you would hope that he would be ahead of his counterpart in this situation, but just not really happening. And Zefric almost level 6. We do have the 10-minute bouncer runes coming up soon. In compLexity, a lot of heroes up here on top. Vampire just throws a stun on Zefric. Miracle now charging forward. Iceberg a little bit low on life, but the Stampede not going to get them out of there, actually. They're trapped by the Ice Shards. This is a lot of damage coming in for the Metamorphosis. Iceberg falls, and 3-4-3. Well, the last Snowball and Shards didn't work out so great, but this one works fantastically, and they will bring down the Razor once again.
All the meantime, Limp was just farming in the mid lane, got his level 7 now, has the 1 point into the Remnant. Obviously still having a relatively poor game by his standards, but we're going to look to...
They have a sentry down here. Miracle still has the ultimate for a little bit. They do manage to interrupt. The Hex coming through. Death with a couple of body blocks, and he will secure that kill. It's a bloodbath in the top lane, and that's 2 cores dying for the Pango in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, maybe perhaps getting a little bit big for their britches.
Yeah, this net worth lead's been cut down really significantly.
Absolutely.
Still waiting for the PL to kind of come online.
Yeah.
I guess compLexity also waiting for the Ember to catch up a little bit. Still just working on his phase boots here on Limp, but much happier to lane against the Witch Doctor than the Razor at this point in time.
Yeah, he's been a complete non-factor so far this PL, and rightly so. That's the way they want to choose to go about it. Just get him up his farm, get him those first few key items. He's already picked up one of the Blades of Alacrity, getting closer to that Diffusal Blade.
So I feel as though the PL build is going to be pretty standard, but what are you thinking for the Terrorblade? How early does he need BKB this game?
I feel like if those pushes from Pango worked a bit more effectively, then he would have had to get it much earlier on. But now that they've kind of stabilized a little bit, he can probably delay it a bit more, you know, focus more on these farming items, make sure that he's not falling behind, because for all intents and purposes, he's keeping up very well on the network.
Yeah. They do have those Mass Serpent Wards finally online, pushing mid a little bit. Catapult also helping it out, but Phantom Lancer now looking to get somewhat involved as he comes in here. He's just focusing on farming up the wards. They stampede forward. They're looking for 3-4-3, but he saves himself with the Snowball, getting left behind by his team a little bit. Zefric tries for the TP out. He will make it just in time. 3-4-3. Not quite so lucky, perhaps. The Shard's still on cooldown for a little bit. And one more auto attack from Naive will get that kill. Also successfully defend their tier 1 tower, but what a nice TP from Zefric.
Yeah, great TP out, only losing 3-4-3 on the Tusk. Oh, they're actually rotating in on the backside, it looks like.
Yeah, well, they want this tier 1, but compLexity looking for something, trying to catch Iceberg. Not going to risk it that time, does pop a drum charge just to be able to escape.
One thing we haven't talked about too much is just how much PL loves playing against Shadow Shaman. He completely rips through relatively low HP target, and if he drops those Mass Serpent Wards, they just evaporate. It's just basically a free tower for himself.
Yeah, it's a really nice matchup, and you're never really going to be able to get the shackle on him, anything like that. Even if you do get the shackle on the real hero, you might just get beat to death by illusions at that point. So. PL still a little ways away from the diffusal. Still going to take another couple of minutes. It's pretty standard timing, I think, for him. Limp fighting against him over at bottom lane. Needs to be somewhat careful. Does still have the Flame Guard up, so.
Yeah, got the Flame Guard, got the one Remnant. Yep. Zips back.
I think he's playing as if he has backup, and they're going on Ghostic instead on top. Zefric's actually tunneled his way through the trees, gets the shackle off. Miracle once again with the Metamorphosis. I feel like every meta has actually been so value for compLexity here. Oh no, they found Limp. Can he actually escape here? He's just got enough to jump away to the Remnant, though unfortunately now has to walk all the way back to base to get that bottle refill. And they're going on at mid.
Zefric TPing in.
Man, everyone is just furiously TPing and running and moving around the map. No one wanting to give away these tier 1 towers at all.
Oh, absolutely not. Nice deep ward placed there by Sherman the Slayer, making sure to deny a lot of the farming potential from this Ember Spirit.
Interesting item from Limp. He's picked up I think it's a medallion? Medallion before going for the phase boots or a drum. They do get the chains here over onto Slayer. They need to be a little bit careful. It's just the two supports. They're going to pop the Stampede and split up in 2 different directions. Slayer still making his way up onto the high ground, leading them on a merry little chase. And Naive's over here, but he's got no interest in helping out his position 5. Over at top, Miracle getting drained, but does just manage to TP out.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, some really deep wards placed by Pango. They really want to make sure that they've got complete understanding of where the enemy carries are farming, because now's the time where they're starting to get those key items. You've got this Diffusal Blade just finished up on Naive on his PL. You've got Nyx Assassin able to rotate through quite easily, as he is doing on this top side tri-camp. So you essentially know exactly where all of compLexity are at all times, although they do get the nice D-ward coming out there from 3-4-3.
Yeah. Do they make an immediate play with this Phantom Lancer, or are they waiting for more items?
Looks like they're keen to.
Yeah. Limp running forward here, battle for the 15-minute bounty runes. 3-4-3 still kind of wants it. He's already popped the tag team running forward, but Pango, they're still looking towards Naive, but he's going to be okay. Yeah. And it looks like it's actually a lot of bounty runes once again for the Pango. I think all 4.
Yeah,
they're really slaying them on the. Almost all of their, a huge chunk of their net worth lead is just the bounty rune pickups.
Absolutely, and I'm just really liking how this Nyx has been rotating throughout the entire map. You know, we talked about.
I love the vision. I love just the scouting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like why in the past teams picked, you know, the Riki or the Bounty Hunter as that position 4, position 5. You're just essentially a roaming observer ward, and if you die, who cares? You're a position 5. It doesn't really matter all that much.
And now they've got the Atos up, and some really nice timings for the Pango. Atos on the Razor, Diffusal Blade on the Phantom Lancer. They're getting towards the Blink Dagger on the Centaur. Another tier 1 tower would probably secure that for him. He's got about 1,400 gold worth of progress. And 3-4-3 with a sneaky ward does spot the fact that the Witch Doctor is down here. They're trying to bait their Phantom Lancer a little bit, potentially. They do go for a scan. They know what's going on over here. Death gets slowed down. Miracle comes in, does pop the reflection. They're looking towards the Doom. Can he get his spells off? He's being chain stunned, and they've also rooted up 3-4-3, so he can't get in with the snowball and save him. One death so far. Z-Freak getting latched onto by Ave. He's dead. Don't even need to look at him. Miracle pops the ultimate. Well, not the ultimate yet, just the Metamorphosis, but they are going in onto Iceberg. He's very tanky. Another two-man stun. Limp is looking for something on the other side of the fight, but Slayer is just leading him around in circles. He finally gets the kill, but easy win for the Pango, and a buyback used from Death.
Buyback for what, basically, is what the big thing here. He's picked up his drums, he's got his phase boots, but that just sets him so far back from getting this Blink Dagger.
I feel like this Nyx Assassin pick is actually just destroying him. He prioritized the Scorched Earth, and it's actually just coming back to bite him.
Yeah,
because the Scorched Earth is just getting him stunned into the chain stun. Iceberg looking for the dive as well. They're rolling forward. The complexity needs to be careful. They do get the Doom out now with the ward trap as well from Z-Freak. Razor looking like he is going to be brought down, and actually the Pango, maybe they've bought off a little bit more than they can chew. Limp and Death still very healthy. Ghost kiting backwards. Slayer running forward. This paralyzing cask is dangerous. The creep wave arriving just in time, but Limp does get caught by the stomp. Miracle trying to save him with the reflection. Ghost almost brought down. Naive. Can they identify the real one? Looks like Death does have his number. Throws out one more Infernal Blade, the follow-up stomp, and that is a 4-for-3 turnaround in favor of complexity, and they're not done. They're still looking for Slayer. Death, we wondered about this buyback, but it looks like he is going to get quite a lot on the return.
Some big kill streaks going the way of either team. Limp going down, feeding away a 4-kill streak, and then a 6-kill streak from Naive going to Death. So it did buy back, but we look at him already. He's got enough for that Blink Dagger.
Z-Freak even denied the tower in the middle of that, I think, with the Mass Serpent wards.
Absolutely.
So, making some very nice plays.
And in that previous team fight as well, the one before that, sort of closer to the bounty rune, we saw the kill priority from Pango. They actually went for the Tusk first to make sure that there wasn't that save on the TB when they did decide to focus him. So there wasn't any Sunder that was going to be going off. It's just kill the easy target first. You know, don't make things difficult for yourself.
Oh, the Pango are back at it once again. We'll be looking for something here. Z-Freak might be the first target. 3-4-3 also found out, but he gets the Walrus Punch out. Z-Freak will end up being the first target. They pop the Stampede. Snowball buys him a little bit more time, but both supports on complexity now dead, and Miracle and Death forced to just turn tail and run. Nothing that they can do. They're heading back to the shrine, and the Pango, can they actually get an objective off of this? They're just kind of continuing to run at complexity for the time being.
They're pretty keen to. They've popped Eye of the Storm, and they don't want to waste that.
Yeah, Iceberg still sitting up here on the front lines. They need to be careful, though. Tusk not too far away from respawning. They don't want to get split up. Death does actually jump forward, grabs that haste. Nice stun once again from Vampire, though. Opens up the space, and it just ended up being those 2 support kills end of the day. And some farm on the Phantom Lancer.
Yeah, who is getting closer and closer to that Manta style. So a bit more, a bit more elusiveness for himself. Able to get out of those roots if he is caught by the Ember Spirit.
Is there a critical mass for the PL this game where they just can't deal with him, or do they have the right heroes to be able to kind of deal with the PL at all stages?
I mean, there's always that level 25. It's always going to be a bit of a hindrance for them, but I don't think it'll go that late. I think Pango are keen to fight, as we've seen a number of times, to fight right now, and they understand that their timing's around the 30-minute mark. All
right, well, we wondered about this medallion a little bit, but Limp's got a plan. Heading into the pit, they're going to deploy the Mass Serpent wards. They use the Metamorphosis as well, and Pango seemed none the wiser. The tag team also making this extremely quick, and yeah, Pango think that there's a smoke gank happening, and they could not be more wrong. This is just a quick Roshan pickup for complexity. They're going to hand it over to Miracle. TB not necessarily the most amazing Aegis carrier in the entire game, but definitely the hero that they want to protect for now.
I mean, I think it's just realizing that that's all of your net worth, the TB. Yeah. If he goes down and he isn't able to have an impact in these team fights, you're done. You know, he's 3.5K ahead of the Ember Spirit. Pango, maybe if they had a bit of a better read on that, they could have done a bit more damage to this tier 2 tower in bot lane. But as it stands, complexity will be able to TP back, deal with it relatively easily.
Yeah. We praised the warding from the Pango, but I think we have to praise the dewarding as well from complexity, keeping control of their side of the map.
Yeah, Slayer getting a bit deep, but I don't think that'll be enough to catch him out.
That's still in here. Still pretty close game, but one team fight either way. We've got the net worth lead on the Pango. We've got the Aegis currently over on complexity.
Yeah.
It's really going to come down to these next couple of initiations, and I feel like we haven't really seen the Centaur initiation just yet. It's mostly been the Nyx Assassin leading the fights for the Pango.
Yeah, I mean, the Centaur, I think, has been really effective at having that, actually.
Right. Death pops everything. Stampede gets popped. Slayer, oh, he's now a little bit slower, and they are continuing this chase. Pango not interested in actually helping him out, though the Ice Shard block is a little bit off the mark. Death does have the Blink Dagger off cooldown soon. Follow-up stomp, and looks like this should be a dead Soma the Slayer.
And punch.
All right.
That must feel so disheartening, right? Like, what do I have to do?
Yeah,
I made a pretty good play, throwing my coconuts onto the neutral camp. It bounced around afterwards. Honestly, one unlucky bounce for him there. Yeah. That did create a little bit of space for his team, and now we can see Pango Naive very, very confident now that he's picked up that Mantis Cell, starting to farm more on the Radiant side of the map.
And they're just accelerating further and further on the Pango. Now a 6K lead. Oh, they found the Ember. They were camping out his Remnant, it looks like. Can he escape from this one? Limp makes the play, jumps down to the low ground.
And they got the Mass Serpent Wards for this bot tower. If they choose to drop them, it's still only level 1 so far, but could still do it. And
Limp needs to be careful. Vampire's still hot on his tail, though. I think he may have gotten spotted on that center.
Gets the haste as well. Very lucky break for him.
Yeah. Okay, so just a bit of a tower trade coming up, but as we can see, bottom tier 2 also being taken out, and compLexity, they are in a position to TP back here. They do have all 5 of their TPs available, but I think they might just try and force the high ground. Miracle already popping the Metamorphosis. They're getting to the tier 3 tower first, and Death claiming his spot up here on the high ground. TP back in from the Razor, but it's a little bit aggressive. He will get the BKB out, though. Doesn't really care too much about the Doom, but the damage from Miracle is the big concern. Ghost Stick dies. Vampire won't be able to get the stun off. It's a triple kill for Miracle. What can they actually do? Naive finally turning up to this fight, looking for it, but Deathblade's right on top of him, gets the Infernal Blade, and they kill the Phantom Lancer outright. No problem. compLexity, they were down pretty much this entire game, and all of a sudden, 23 minutes in, they're taking a full lane of racks.
Man, that was a big turnaround. And it all started, I don't like to flame, but this Witch Doctor just extending a little bit too far. Had the Glimmer Cape, had a couple seconds left on it. He's like, you know what, I'm going to throw a cheeky little paralyzing cast. But it didn't connect onto the Doom. Death was able to blink forward, get the Stomp, get the Infernal Blade, and he was dead for 35 seconds in all of that. And you would think if you have a cask bouncing around all throughout that, it could have been a very different fight.
The PL just disappeared. Right? I think he threw a lance at the Doom, and right as it was about to land on the Doom, Doom just blinked on top of him.
Stunned.
And instantly stunned him, and they got a very quick kill.
Absolutely. Even just having the Glimmer Cape, it doesn't even need to be the paralyzing cask on the Witch Doctor, right?
Could have maybe saved the PL.
Yep.
Well, now we're down a lane of racks, and compLexity definitely turning this game around in a big way. We saw BKB being used by the Razor, didn't really seem all that effective.
It was his 10-second one as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a huge deal for that to no longer be a factor for him. And how quickly they burst him down with Miracle. He's got a lot of farm right now. Aegis is about to expire in about 40 seconds or so. So I think they might look to reassess, but
they're running up, blind up onto this high ground. All right, Vampire gonna get chainsed up. They will get the lockdown onto the Ember Spirit. Can they actually kill him, though? That's the question. Miss stomp from Ghost Stick. They are instead gonna be looking over towards Z-Freak. He's the much softer target, but compLexity happy to lose just the position 4 here.
I think if you're popping a smoke, you want to get a lot more than Z-Freak. You know, great disengage coming from both the TB as well as the Ember Spirit. And, we could just see Pango starting to panic a little bit, right? They've lost that bottom lane of racks.
Yeah.
They've lost map control. They still have the net worth lead, but it doesn't seem like or feel like that's going to be the case for much longer. We've got the Maelstrom picked up by this Ember Spirit, so he's able to accelerate his own farm. It doesn't all go to the TB. And now that a few of these ultimates were used by Pango, it's time for the counter initiation coming out from Cole.
And there's no way in your head as Pango, you're considering that, like, oh, we could just lose a lane of racks at 20 minutes, right? But that's the kind of thing that a Terrorblade can do to you if you're just a little bit asleep at the wheel. And
Absolutely.
Miracle getting even bigger, working his way towards a butterfly now.
Yep. How much detection do they have? They have a little bit on both 343 as well as Z-Freak, so could have potentially caught the Nyx out if he continued to rotate through the jungle. I don't think Pango will mind this too much, just the slight delay in being able to find out compLexity, see whereabouts they're pushing. They do look like they might be losing a tier 2 at the top lane, though.
how much do these next items for the Pango change the game? I think we've got Crimson coming up on the Centaur, Heart coming up on the Phantom Lancer, and Razor is going for a Shiva's?
I believe so, yeah. So you've got that tier 2 tower picked off now, so any sort of team fight, before you couldn't take another lane of Rex, now they can. But to go back to your previous point, I think oh man, that crowd is going bonkers.
Yeah.
The PL, the Heart on him, I think that's the key item. Because right now, we saw how quickly he got burst down, right? He TP'd in, he was able to try and, you know, contest things on his own, but despite having a vast majority of the net worth on Pango, it was just not quite enough to make sure he survived that little bit longer.
Yeah. I think Slacks is up to some shenanigans in the crowd. Yeah, like, look, there are definitely some shenanigans happening in the crowd at the moment. But back to the game, it's close, 18-18. Next couple of fights going to be very important. Initiations, as always, going to be super important.
Win percentage about 65 so far for compLexity. So,
wow,
even Dota Plus favoring them a little bit.
Yeah, though it is drifting back towards the Pango side. So are these fights about vision? What's the key here for you?
Well, it doesn't seem like Pango's trying anything different from what they've been doing the entire game. You know, you've got Vampire who's rotating around, trying to be that roaming observer ward. You've got Pango as a whole trying to smoke and gank potentially when they shouldn't. And now you've got this just gradual push coming out from Z-Freak and the rest of his team.
This is why I love Shadow Shaman as a hero. The guaranteed value is just so high on his ult. Miracle, well, I'm not going to say dodges that stun, but doesn't connect on him. Yep. And compLexity with a little bit of a fake back. They're actually wrapping around trying to grab the pincer that Pango were going for, but looks like Razor has realized what's going on, though he might stick around. He wants this double damage, but could that be the end of his life? He does have the BKB available, pops it out. Doom once again used on him. Stampede forward. They're trying to get him out of there. Nice two-man stomp this time around. They've got Miracle locked down, but he immediately pops the BKB, pops the meta, and goes to work. They are pushing the supports back while waiting up on the high ground. Naive is just trapped in the middle of everything. Can they figure out which one is the real one? He brings down Z-Freak. Buyback immediately from 343. Miracle still fighting, but he's low on mana. Needs to be careful. The chain stun's coming in, and Naive still has his eyes on him. Finally, the Sunder coming through. The Butterfly's going to help keep him alive a little bit longer, but the stuns from the Pango rain down after buybacks from both sides, and they will continue this pursuit.
That Heart just putting in so much work on the PL enabled him to survive throughout that fight. He's already back to full HP, and now I think we'll look to see them push down this bottom lane, mid lane, maybe take the tier 2, and just increase the pressure throughout.
And it's kind of what Blitz talked about on the panel as well, that Razor just doesn't really care about Doom all that much. He got his BKB off before he got doomed. I'm not sure if he got the static link.
He had about 60 damage stolen.
So it's still decent. And the thing for me looking at that fight recap is that, one, the PL did a lot of damage, but so too did the Razor.
Well, Z-Freak maybe getting caught out here.
Yeah, Ghost Stick closing the gap on him a little bit. Did they actually need him? He jumps in, he stomps on Death. Death was looking for the stomp, but he's just a little bit too slow. Limp does jump forward, trying to save his offlaner. BKB finally coming out. Snowball also going to save him.
Nice turnaround.
Yeah, they get the Nyx Assassin dead. All right. So it just ends up being a 1-for-1.
343 playing quite well. Obviously, Death going down there would have been a huge turn of events, trying to go in and save Z-Freak, but still going down. I think this Tusk, you don't really need it to have too much farm, right?
Well, Miracle, he popped the Manta, but that could be dangerous for him. Coconut's still bouncing.
Bouncing a little bit, got the blink forward.
Ghosting still is thinking about this. Does unfortunately end up using the Stampede, but they pushed Miracle back. He's still got 45 seconds to go on the Metamorphosis, so.
Bit of a zoning ultimate. They're going to pick up all 4 bounty runes, look to extend their lead a little further. We can see now it's grown out to 4,000 on Pango's side. So I think that win percentage graph, yeah, it's creeping a bit closer towards parity there. 57% now for compLexity.
I can't believe that Witch Doctor has grabbed 10 bounty runes in this game. Yeah? That's madness.
I mean, you would think it would be more the Nyx Assassin, right?
Potentially, yeah. I guess he's been scouting to make it easy for the Witch Doctor to pick them up. He just knows that there's nobody running at him. Looking at Limp.
Iceberg just sitting pretty.
Yeah. They could force his BKB, but that's about it, right?
Yeah.
He's got BKB and Remnants. Unless they perfectly chain stun him, there's no way he's going.
And they've now picked up that Shiva's Guard, so against a lineup that has a Terrorblade, obviously that's going to have a big impact on reducing the damage coming up from all of those illusions. Not just the damage onto them itself, but just the passive aura.
So what's the next item for this Razor? It feels like they don't really have to itemize against the Ember at all. It's pretty much just, hey, we're going to itemize against Miracle because he's the one who's actually doing anything in these fights.
I mean, even something basic like, I don't know, a Sanjin Yasha, I think could be all right for him.
Something small.
Yeah. Gives him something to replace the Wraith Band with, reduces the duration.
Oh, they found the Nyx Assassin. Bit of stun coming in. Vampire also hexed up. Won't even get the... Oh, that looks like he will get the Spiked Carapace off. But it's not going to help him.
Yeah. It doesn't reflect the damage if you're through the Sleight of Fist there, but I think the SMY is all right? Because you don't want to be cut down for too long by these roots, by these dooms, you know, all going very deep.
Same thing again. compLexity just going straight into Roche. Slayer's scouting it out a little bit, but the rest of his team is not here. Glimmercape's helping to keep him alive. Phantom Lancer's thinking about engaging into this fight, but it's a little bit dangerous. Ghostic now coming around the corner. They're looking towards death first. He pops the BKB and he walks away. Lim's the one making the space, feeling confident, but needs to be a little bit careful about his mana, though. BKB also helping to protect him. compLexity, the Roshan's low. They're going to try and close off the ramp. 3-4-3, nice ice shards. Though the illusions are still sneaking around the corner. Miracle just looking to pick this up quickly. They don't want to fight after the Metamorphosis is down, though. They're jumping in. They pop the Doom. It's onto the Phantom Lancer. Can they get him out of here? Ghosting with the Stomp, trying to keep him alive, but the Shackles from Z-Freak locking him in place. Phantom Lancer's dead. He does have a buyback available, but they've already lost this Shrine, so nowhere quick to jump to. And it looks like Ghostic also going to be brought down. Miracle absolutely putting this game on his back for compLexity.
And the cheese still on the ground, so
okay.
They'll be able to pick that one up. Looks like Lim's going to grab it.
All right.
Well, he's definitely become a lot more of a factor in this game, Limp, right? He's able to accelerate his farm a bit more. Just that additional survivability from having the Black King bar available, 8-second cooldown, but still very effective in these team fights, creating space and having that key compLexity style, that flair to them.
Dire's bottom shrine
this Witch Doctor, I don't know, the way that he's been playing has just looked a little bit lost. Like, that play there was cute, throwing the cask. I think it kind of gives away their ward a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like he's been out of position a little bit here.
Oh, and speaking of out of position, Razor's just way too far forward. He's been shackled up. They popped the tag team. This is plenty of damage. The Shivas is keeping him alive a little bit longer, but Iceberg, what are you doing outside of the base?
He's going to be forced to buy back. Does pop it now. Another 20 seconds or so until the remainder of this team is up. And so wisely popping the glyph, making sure that they have that full 5-man if they're going to contest any high ground push.
Okay, so at this point, Phantom Lancer guaranteed respawn. Everybody's just backing up, play the lane control game, grab their next round of items. The Mjolnir looks like it's pretty much ready to be completed on Limp. Just needs to go and grab that Hyperstone.
Yep. It feels like he's... This Phantom Lancer's had this butterfly queued up for quite a while now. You know, his farming speed has decreased quite a lot, and then in the meantime, you've got this Ember Spirit who's really made up the difference.
And they've got the reflection talent now on the Terrorblade, but haven't quite gotten to the level 25 on the Phantom Lancer just yet. So the reflection actually going to be pretty annoying for the Phantom Lancer to deal with for the next little bit. And Miracle's almost got himself a full Daedalus.
Yeah. It's going to be something quite big to deal with. He's just waiting on the recipe. Only, well, he actually sold an item just then, so he has enough to finish it off.
Oh my god, this Terrorblade is scary.
Yeah. You do not want to be coming up against this well, let's just say pre-35 minutes, because that's what it is. Yeah.
But they can't really chain stun him either, right? Because they've got the Tusk.
Yeah.
They kind of need to do what they did at that bottom fight, which is like Atos the Tusk so he can't run over and try for the save, and then try and go on the TB. But that's all predicated on him not getting the BKB on. Slayer, what are you doing up on that hill? All right, well, apparently just dying. Trying to get a little bit of warding done. I think he was cutting down the trees with his Force Staff so that he could get better vision from that ward, but now, once again, it looks like a fight with no Witch Doctor for the Pango.
Well, who knows, man? It's another 40 seconds until he's back alive. Probably will need to pop this buyback because there's no glyph remaining and they're pushing onto the high ground with the Metamorphosis.
All right, there you go. Lots of illusions plus the meta. The Crimson Guard is on that tower, but I'm not even convinced that it's there with the amount of damage that it's taking. It's going to fade soon. They've also put down the Mass Serpent Wards. They are just here daring the Pango to make any kind of a play. The Phantom Lancer's not even coming. Phantom Lancer is elsewhere on the map. Looks like he's just accepted that they've lost this lane of racks, and I don't know, maybe they try for a smoke play once the Metamorphosis is run out, but they feel like they can't fight the TB.
Yeah. It kind of gives you a sense of miscommunication, right, coming out from Pango, because they used the Witch Doctor buyback and got absolutely nothing out of it. They weren't ever going to be contesting in that team fight. And they had a bit of time to actually make the decision of, okay, do I need to buy back? It wasn't instant. It wasn't
and the Witch Doctor buyback is never going to scare you away.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, we can't high ground anymore, guys.
Yeah.
Witch Doctor's back. Everybody turn tail and run.
But we do have that butterfly now picked up for Naive. Will it be the difference to be able to let Pango actually take one of these tier 3 towers on the Radiant side?
And they had all of the early momentum in the world, but they've thoroughly been turned around on by compLexity.
Yeah, they've given a lot away, up to an 85% win chance now for compLexity. And just having a look at that experience as well, the net worth graph, it's a big spike up.
Yikes. All right, well, the Pango are marching forward while the Metamorphosis is on cooldown, but compLexity still sizing up some kind of a fight. I don't know if they really want to fight for this tier 2, but they are going to stall it at the very least. Just keep on spamming that reflection, do their thing.
I wonder if they're keen to just let Ghostic sit there and tank the tower. You know, let his Retaliate do some of the damage to the tier 2.
Aegis is also running out in just a second, so something compLexity do need to be a little bit aware of. They're using the Terrorblade on the front lines, but might need to be just a bit more cautious about that. Though, even though the Rasta isn't something you would normally consider as a defensive support, being able to blink and immediately get a Hex off or something like that could save the Terrorblade's life if he's in danger.
Absolutely, particularly if you can get it onto this Phantom Lance, somehow find out the real one.
Yeah, just see right through him. Some players are really, really good at that, actually. I think some players that play a lot of Phantom Lancer themselves just never seem to be fooled. It feels to me like Ramses is one of those, where if he's playing against the Phantom Lancer, it's hopeless trying to ever trick him.
Yeah, to juke him out.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different from like the Naga Siren, for example, the mirror image from that, because you can actually see which one is the real one. There's like a split second where you can actually see the first one that pops out.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
There you go.
The more you know.
The more you know. Got to go test that in demo mode after this. Anyway, so we're just waiting on compLexity's side. They're chilling out for their cooldowns, chilling out for a couple of items. One lane of racks away from Megas at this point, and to me it always feels like when you've got the Shadow Shaman as well, it's similar. People used to talk about the Nature's Prophet. Like, if you're down 2 lanes of racks against Nature's Prophet, the game is basically over.
Yeah.
And Shadow Shaman feels pretty similar to that. If you've got 2 lanes of racks up against the opposing team and you've got control of the Roshan Pit, eventually you just get the attack damage on the Shadow Shaman, you get the Refresher Shard on the Shadow Shaman, and he just ends the game by himself.
Yeah. And I don't think it's going to go that late, but
no.
I think it's
a good backup plan.
Yeah. I think it's pretty wise what Z-Freak is doing, though. He's not overly committing towards going into, oh, we need to get an Ags or a Refresher just so we can throw everything onto this tower, because then if that doesn't work, then you're kind of left with not so much. He's gone the Glimmer Cape instead, and he's building into the BKB
I love
next.
the BKB.
Yeah, and he's probably not going to go the Mass Serpent Ward's max HP. He's probably going to go the Shackles Duration, just so that if they do find out one of these key targets and they don't have a BKB popped, it's just dead. Absolutely dead in the water.
It's like, I'm stunned for the entire time, but so are you. And I only have 7k net worth, and you have 20-something.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they found out one. They've got the Ember Spirit in a bit of danger. Limp does manage to get the Slight off, and he jumps away. Limp's still alive. Naive is chasing. They have managed to latch onto Z-Freak. They try and close off the ramp using the Mass Serpent Wards and the Shards, but it's not going to be enough to save the Shaman. Miracle running back, and it looks like the Pango, that is going to be all they're going to get. Limp, he looked dead to rights, but just managing to jump away.
Yeah, that Solar Crest putting in a lot of work against all of these PL illusions and all the damage coming out from the rest of Pango. Very nice initiation coming through from them, but just not quite enough. And now building into the Radiance himself on the Ember.
All right. Oh, well, it was a nice play up until he missed that stun. Can they still get this kill? Looking to slow him down. They just charge straight through. They do have that Aghanim Scepter, so they don't care about the Ice Shards. And it looks like 343 is going to be brought down after all is said and done. Yeah. That was really cute, actually. Sitting in the Invis, waiting to see the Bouncy Rune disappear, and then popping the dust.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Bit of mind games coming out. We'd love to see that.
I think it shows me that the Pango are still relatively composed, despite the situation that they're in.
Yep.
They're still finding these like cute little plays, they're playing to their outs.
Absolutely. And right now, you just feel like they have to hold off for that probably 5 or so minutes more until this PL gets his level 25, gets very comfortable, has his next key item picked up. Yeah, going into that MKB to really, you know, avoid a lot of these key items that are being built up by complexity to mitigate a lot of the damage coming out.
Does he definitely get the Doppel cooldown this game, you think?
I feel like there are so many times where they've been really close to picking off this Ember or this Terrorblade, and they've just got away. So maybe going the crit strike would be more beneficial for them. But right now, essentially, he's all of their damage. Like, in these team fights, if Iceberg lives, it's seen as more of a bonus. Whereas it's really the PL that's dominated so far.
Oh, they've got a shackle. They've actually found out the Nyx Assassin running a little bit too close to that sentry. Yeah, there's a very quick kill. He buys back immediately. The Roshan is actually up. So. And
he actually has gone the Mass Serpent Ward's max HP. I thought, particularly against a PL, right, you're going to just rip through them anyway, so... And he's building into the BKB as well, so I don't know, I'm not feeling...
I just don't know if he's going to survive the full shackle duration, even with a BKB.
But he's got a Glimmer Cape and a BKB eventually, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see how these next few fights play out, right? If the Phantom Lancer is wasting his time killing your wards, then maybe you're happy about that. And we do have smoke from the Pango.
Now, something a little weird on complexity, I would absolutely be giving this cheese over to the Ember Spirit. Right now, TB doesn't want to drop any of the items that he's holding. And then if you were thinking, you know, oh, I'll just change it over in the middle of the team fight. A, how often does that happen? And B, there's a cooldown for you actually being able to use the cheese.
What if he just pops the BKB and then swaps it?
Nah, I think these fights are being way too hectic for that to be the case.
Anyway, we should hold that thought because this Pango smoke is still very tense. The Radiant Scan reveals it. They know that they're up on their high ground, so they just wisely back away.
Yeah. Limp throwing out a couple of sleights of fist onto that high ground to make sure it's clear for his team.
Man, this is the team fight, Danog.
This is it? Are you calling it?
I think so. We're getting to that point. There's a lot of buybacks to throw in one way or the other. I think whoever gets the Aegis here.
Well, there's a smoke coming up.
Yeah. complexity do have the buybacks, and they still have their Shrine. Iceberg does get the BKB off. He's being doomed, but they stampede him away. He runs up the hill. Ember Spirit getting caught by the Spike Carapace. Can they actually keep the lockdown here? They've got onto Ghostic, and he's dead. He's got buyback. He uses it immediately. Death doesn't have his Doom or his BKB. Ember's still sitting on the front lines trying to scout things out a little bit, and they've actually found a split fight from the Pango. Not the best positioning. Limp also going to go in onto Slayer now. They've lost the one support, and it should be the second one soon. Pango need to regroup. They got to get their heroes back together. It's Naive fighting up against 4. Ghostic does jump in. He gets the stomp onto 3. Do they actually have the damage, though? It doesn't really look like it. Miracle's just standing his ground. He finally gets the Metamorphosis off, turns back around, and starts working his way through these illusions. They've latched onto the real PL. Iceberg's being pushed out of this fight by Z-Freak, who's still chasing him, hexing him up on the other side of the map, shackling him one more time, and now they're TPing over Death to finish the job. Z-Freak looking like he's winning this fight for the team. Iceberg does have the TP, trying to escape, but Z-Freak's right on top of him. He knows exactly what he's up to. It's going to take them a little bit longer to finish this kill, especially with the butterfly, but is he dead?
Shivas?
Okay, all right. It didn't look like it was going to hit him. Oh, we're not done just yet. Slayer, once again, in a little bit of a weird spot, does force staff away from 343. All right, buyback also coming in from Iceberg. We still have that big objective. It is the Roshan, and Miracle only a little bit left on this Metamorphosis.
Oh, the illusion as well, being grabbed by Miracle. That Roche is dropping like a brick, but being mindful of the fact that Pango is right there, ready to engage.
Yeah, their vision is not so great. It is daytime, so both teams seeing quite a lot, but all right, the fight continues. Lots of ultimates missing, though, and
about 1,000 experience away from his level 25 on the PL.
We've only got 4 buybacks available at this point. Lots of them already being used. They would love to get this Aegis, I think, especially for Iceberg. Oh, big trouble for the Ember. He does get the BKB off just in time. They've also hexed up onto 1. Iceberg's going to be okay. He chooses to run straight up onto the high ground, though, right into Miracle's face. Can they actually do the damage? He pops the BKB, and the auto attack still doing quite a lot of work. 343 getting chased down by the Phantom Lancer. Z-Freak this time around. He's once again got the Razor up in his face. He wants revenge for that earlier team fight, but he may have gone a little bit out of position. Death and Limp right on top of Iceberg, chasing him down. Miracle, even without the Metamorphosis, they're still winning this fight. The auto attacks are just way too much.
all the crits. Triple kill for Miracle Ghost Stick. One last stomp, but it's not going to do anything. Just feeding away the ultra kill. And this Terrorblade is looking amazing.
GG called, and compLexity taking game one of what a great opening game of the series. One that we were thinking was going to be competitive all throughout, and it really swung back either way.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Great job by compLexity. After a really rough group stage, they've come back and shown why they're here at this tournament and why they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. We thought this was going to be close. We had some good back and forth. I think we had pretty solid drafts on both sides, but it is going to be compLexity walking away with game one in this all-important lower bracket, best of 3. Back to the drawing board for the Pango. Any other highlights for you from this game? Limp, we talked about him a little bit in the laning stage. He recovered really nicely.
I think that's the highlight, you know, being so far behind in the laning stage, being given a rough role by his team, a rough lane, and then just saying, you know what? I'm able to come back from this. I have the confidence in Miracle that he's going to be able to create enough space, create enough chaos, that I actually have the time to get these key items. I got my Maelstrom, I can farm a little bit myself, and then he was gone on very early on in a lot of these team fights, but he survived partly because of his team, but partly because of some really quick fingers, you know, BKBs being popped, great sleights of fist. He got away on 100 HP several times.
Yeah, and the sleight of fist just wasting so much time against all the PL illusions as well.
Absolutely. Well, that is compLexity taking game one, and yeah, absolutely fantastic and well done by them.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up from us, guys. Hope you're enjoying all the coverage, and we're going to head back to the panel. I think. Or maybe not.
Maybe we're just going to talk for a little bit.
Okay, maybe they're not ready for us just yet. Okay, so the Pango, the Witch Doctor didn't look good.
No.
I think that was a big problem. It wasn't just the hero, though. I feel like Slayer was also just in a weird place a lot of the time.
Yeah, maybe feeling a little bit overconfident. Witch Doctor doesn't really have any escapes, and it felt like he was throwing out his spells towards the end of his Glimmer Cape duration. So once that happens, what else do you have?
Yeah,
not much.
I don't think we saw like a single death ward go for more than 1 second.
Yeah, they were really on time with interrupting that. It was mostly Death, ironically, interrupting the death wards with his Blink, Stomp, or
Infernal Blade.
Yeah, the Infernal Blade.
It was really easy.
He was really the catch for compLexity, and he fulfilled his role really well.
That's true. He had a little bit of a slow start, but then he was sitting on the Stomp the entire game as well, and I feel like that ended up being really value, like especially when they went high ground at 23 minutes or so.
Yep.
And got that kill on the Phantom Lancer. That's where the game just all of a sudden, like, if you're the Pango, what do? You thought, okay, we're going to trade tier 2 for tier 2. We're going to back off. We'll force them away from our high ground. compLexity's like, nah.
Yeah.
We're just going to go and take that full lane of racks.
I think that's when the roller coaster really started to dip. But that's enough for us from game one, and we'll hear from the guys back on the panel.
We are back on the panel once more. We've got Blitz and Kyle to break things down over what ended up, Kyle, being quite a long game in the end. It didn't look like it was going to be for a while, did it?
Yeah, indeed. And I think it's just a sign of growth, because for me, specifically Limp, very hard time ever convincing him to take on poor matchups, right? You have the 10th pick, you know you're going up against a Razor. It takes guts, right? Like Mid-One's willing to do this at all times. You hate to accept that you're going to lose your lane, but it was the best hero for the game. He eventually recovered, it stayed even, Terrorblade ends up coming through, but a big part of that is that Ember's able to equalize. He's the catch that they need, he shoves lanes, and he deals with the Phantom Lancer.
Wasn't the cleanest the game early on as well. There were a few missteps in there from compLexity as well. They recovered from those too.
Dude, if I was Limp, I straight up wanted to like leave that game. It was like mid lane went disastrously, and then whatever nonsense happened where I somehow got cliffed, and then my TP almost got canceled, and I had a TP out in the first place, and that was the gank attempt. I'm just sitting there like, what am I doing in this game? And that goes to show, like, you know, a little bit too late for you, because he could have done it for you. But
that was nice.
Limp now, he's displaying maturity, right? Because it takes, like, most mid laners don't like losing matchups, because it's really easy to snowball once you have a good laning phase. That's always been the mid thing. Fluff and stuff used to tell me, like, any decent player can snowball a matchup after he gets like a kill or two, but a really good player knows how to recover in Dota. A really good player knows how to come back from those situations where you shouldn't. And for me anyways, it's like, this was like a good growth step for Limp, because I think oftentimes, like, he'd have a bad matchup, they'd lose the game and be like, I'm never doing that again. This time he's like, I sacrificed, it worked out in my favor. I hope compLexity keeps up with this.
And I just liked their lineup so much more. They could make things happen. You could see so many times they took fights around choke points and just obliterated whoever core they targeted. There was a huge fight around the Roche pit where we saw Death finally get the Doom off on the PL, the real PL, post-Heart, instead of the Razor. You're always winning the fight when that goes down, and just well played in general.
Where did it go wrong for the Pango after such a good start?
I think that their draft is like a big problem. Like, I think both their supports lack damage.
Yeah, I think both their supports are kind of useless, really, especially against BKBs and an Ember Spirit that's just constantly spamming Slight.
Whereas Tusk is always going to be useful. He can punch. His Eye Shards will always like set up spells just because he can block off even if people get BKBs off. Shaman was a huge hero that game. He enabled them to Roshan 2 separate times. He enabled a free high ground with the TB illusions. Like, those are heroes that did something. They dealt damage. They had control. Whereas like Witch Doctor plus Nyx, once people pop their BKBs, they just kind of sat there, and even when the BKBs were down, they don't independently deal damage. Like, you're not going to get that Death Ward off for long enough to justify that pick, I think.
Yep, you have these heroes like Razor, PL, Centaur. You can afford much greedier supports because you can see, you know, there's a Link and the Centaur ult, like all of a sudden you've got complexity on the run, but these supports don't offer anything. If that's instead of a Witch Doctor, some sort of combo break, some sort of setup like a Wyvern, even though it's not the greatest Wyvern game, anytime you get a 2 or 3 man setup, there's a Nyx stun to follow. Like, it just makes the game so much simpler to execute. You have no real team fight. It's so tough to execute.
Yeah, it's not like, and it's not like you're saying this in hindsight either. You actually said that during the draft, that Witch Doctor was an odd choice. We know it's a Pango hero, but it didn't fit with what they were trying to do. So I guess it worked out that way. Miracle, I want a few words for him. Obviously, Terrorblade late game, you kind of go, well, you're bound to have a decent game, but all the way through, really. Yep,
his item build was on point as well. You don't really want to buy a Scotty against PL because you just offer now more mana for him to deal extra damage to you. Butterfly against Razor and PL, they don't want to buy MKBs. Neither, I don't believe, ended the game with one. Maybe PL had finished his, I wasn't sure. Either way, it's crazy damage reduction and the highest DPS item for this hero post-Manta. You just end the game with the Daedalus and Aegis. There's no one that can stand against you.
Our Vodafone View friends, they picked out the 4s to watch. How did you assess their independent games?
I mean, Z-Freak's fed a bit, but it's a rough game, and there's just constantly this PL gunning for him in the backlines. So I think he did well under the circumstances, but I really wish, I've tried to convince him to stop buying all this damn regen in the laning phase. Just get boots. Just buy boots, spam Q, and like go die to the tier 2.
What's wrong with 7 tangos in a cell?
It's just too much. And as soon as you die a couple times, like, your regen doesn't help you survive. It helps you sustain throughout the laning phase. But when you're the person that's going to be targeted, you want to increase the survivability primarily, not your ability to like tank hits. Because as soon as they go for you, you're going to die.
All right, okay, that's the assessment of our 2-4 players in this particular matchup. We've still got plenty to talk about as we head towards game number 2. Of course, we've got a break coming up before then. But before we get there, let's check in with Purge and find out what he's got from game number 1.
It was a pretty back-and-forth game and very interesting for complexity, but the issue is that they had a couple out-of-position mistakes. The 15-minute mark, they're behind by 4K due to the fact that the Ember Spirit had a rough laning stage. He was far behind Razor. And as they did group to finally push the bot tier 1 tower, the mistake that was made was that Death, anticipated the team fight happening, but as soon as he did, he used Scorched Earth, and that set up a super easy spike Carapace into follow-up stun with Maledict, one place that Witch Doctor is actually really useful. And this got even worse. They ended up chasing Zach on the Shadow Shaman, ended up dying to the bottom right against the PL, and it kind of looked like they could take a fight here, but the next mistake here was the snowball grouping them up, which landed them up for another Nyx Assassin stun. So little mistakes there just made their lead even farther ahead for Pango. But on the bright side, as the game continued, they eventually did take some good fights. Here's a super late game, or 22-minute moment, 5k gold advantage for Pango still. This was after they pushed the bot tier 1 and the tier 2 bot as well, and they're able to use their big reach. This is one of the big advantages that they had with their draft, with the Doombringer having a Blink Dagger and the Ember Spirit being able to jump forward, and even the Tusk as well. They made a mistake here with Witch Doctor coming forward, using his Glimmer Cape early, instantly gets killed, and now all of a sudden there's 5 enemy heroes on the high ground, and Pango has to defend. So they teleport their heroes, and here's Ghost Stick waiting for allies. Razor TPing way too far forward, ends up getting doomed, no static link off, and they are able to respond a little bit, but they still lost a lot of their heroes, and they lost the racks afterwards. So it's kind of just a couple clips showing careless mistakes that happened that made the game go back and forth, and ended up being a good game, but big mistakes that cost you as the game goes on.
Thanks very much, Purge. Yeah, mistakes on both sides. We've mentioned, compLexity made some of those missteps in the first one, but the Pango weren't immune to mistakes either. That clip showed that. I also want to pick up on what Purge was talking about, reach.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it very much in terms of the way that the team is set up, but compLexity have plenty of that in their game.
I feel like that's something I used to talk about like all the time, and then just you go through cycles and you forget about it. But that's part of the reason Ember is so strong now in this patch, is that you have like, we talk about like a mix of survivability and damage being nice. You want to scale with both, but Ember also always provides catch. Always, and you can do it from such a long distance. We could see multiple times where, like the time Witch Doctor was up on the hill, like even force staffing away, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, I'll use another Remnant. I've got 3. You're always finding the kill.
All right, thanks, gents. Time for us to take a break here in Mumbai, but don't go too far away. compLexity find themselves a game to the good against the Pango. It's still all to play for, though, as we head towards game number 2 very shortly.
Fight looking for it, but Deathblade's right on top of him, gets the Inferno Blade, and they kill the Phantom Lancer. Iceberg's gonna be okay. He chooses to run straight up onto the high ground, though, right into Miracle's face. Can they actually do the damage? He pops the BKB, and the auto attack still doing